To jail cell. These are the 6 YouTubers who went down the wrong path and turned into criminals. Starting from the YouTubers who committed the least severe offenses all the way to the most horrific crimes. The criminal prankster. When it comes to pranks, YouTubers are willing to cross plenty of lines because crazy pranks pull crazy views, which of course brings in the money, and Vitaly ZDTV is living proof of this. With over 10 million subscribers on YouTube, Vitaly is one of the most notorious pranksters on the platform, best known for bending the rules and getting into problems with the authorities. And although getting arrested for playing an extreme prank is a pretty common thing on YouTube, Vitaly takes it to a whole new level. Vitaly had already faced 2 encounters with the police, one for impersonating a cop and the other for using a fake ID. Vitaly would go on to get charged a couple more times for stunts on his YouTube channel. In 2014, he made headlines at the World Cup for streaking across the field. Then in 2016, he was charged for trying to climb up the Hollywood sign, which landed him in jail for a night plus $1,000 for a trespassing fine. And what might be one of his craziest stunts, Vitaly climbed up one of the pyramids of Giza in January of 2020. He did this in an attempt to raise money for the Australian forest fires happening at the time, but although it was for a good cause, Vitaly still had to spend 5 days in jail. But Vitaly's most recent arrest may be the most intense yet. In April 2020, the YouTuber was arrested for a violent altercation with an unsuspecting jogger in Miami Beach. Vitaly had allegedly jumped out of his car without warning or reason and tackled a woman. When police arrived on the scene, he was arrested and charged with a felony. Photos of the woman were posted online not long after, and the injuries were severe. When the police asked why he did it, his words were a bit slurred, and Vitaly himself couldn't even come up with reason for his actions. He explained that he did it for no reason at all, and he knew he messed up.
I ruined my whole life.
His mugshot was also posted online for everyone to see. Given Vitaly's extensive criminal record and his past run-ins with the law, it's likely that this won't be his last incident, especially since his most recent video posted on November 4th, 2023 follows the same pattern. But while Vitaly is no stranger to run-ins with the cops, there's another YouTuber who had a much more intense encounter, one that left her surrounded by the police. One woman versus the SWAT team. Known for her lifestyle content that follows her life as an exotic dancer, Nina Unrated is also a YouTuber who makes vlogs and story times on her channel. Although she hasn't posted a video in 2 years, Nina still has over 400,000 subscribers. Her fans call her Nina, but her real name is Denise. Most new fans don't even know her real name, which is a good thing for her because it's connected to a well-known crime. One that had her single-handedly trying to fend off an entire SWAT team. Denise had been making content on YouTube for a long time as Nina Unrated, but all of her videos have since been deleted, probably because she didn't want to be tied back to her crime. In 2015, Denise was in her apartment recording an emotional video titled "The Truth, Are You Happy Now?" detailing her toxic relationship with her ex-husband, a former Miami Dolphin player, Moreland Greenwood. The video also talked about her tense relations with her family and how they've made her life worse. Given the nature of the video, Denise was already in a bad state of mind, and matters got worse when her then-boyfriend walked in and tried to speak with her since she didn't want to talk. Things quickly escalated, and it wasn't long before their talk turned into a full-blown argument. Swept away by the heat of the moment and the rush of emotion she was feeling from recording that video, Denise did something that she couldn't take back. She grabbed a gun and demanded that he get out of the house. Hearing all the noise, the concerned neighbors called the cops. Officers arrived at her apartment in Pembroke Pines, Florida at approximately 12:30 p.m. But what the police didn't know is that they would be stuck there for the next 6 hours.
A YouTube star, an emotional appeal, all while police are surrounding her home.
Even after her boyfriend left, Denise wasn't the only person inside the house. So was her son. Denise barricaded herself inside the apartment with her son still inside for leverage. The police tried to negotiate with her for hours, trying to get the kid to safety, but Denise refused all of their requests. As a result, backup was called and the SWAT team joined forces. The two would stay locked inside the house for 6 whole hours, and during this time, Denise continued to record her video. Some of the clips from the standoff even made it to the final cut that went up on her channel.
And now there is a whole house filled with police officers because I'm not going to make it past today.
Denise eventually surrendered herself to police custody. She continued posting on the Nina Unrated channel, getting several viral videos with millions of views before disappearing from the internet 2 years ago. And whether or not she'll return, no one knows. But at least Nina made a name for herself before disappearing from social media. Other aspiring content creators like this next one don't end up making it very far, even after their best and most dangerous efforts. The stunt gone wrong. It's crazy how a single event can change a YouTuber's life, and with today's sponsor, War Thunder, every decision can impact the game's direction. War Thunder is a vehicle combat MMO game with more than 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships to choose from and even customize. The game has beautiful graphics and sound effects to give you an immersive experience. When I was a kid, I wanted to become a fighter pilot, so I researched planes all the time, and I can tell you that War Thunder vehicles are very realistic. They have a vehicle damage model where every vehicle is broken down to its specific components, like the engine and fuel tank. And my favorite part, the damage X-ray. When you get hit, vehicles suffer damage to their components and the crew inside. War Thunder has 3 modes. Arcade if you're into fast-paced matches, simulator mode which gives you the ultimate challenge, and realistic mode which is a mix of intensity and authenticity. There are over 70 million players that you can PvP, and if you're a fan of military history, this game is for you. Play War Thunder for free on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox now by using my link in the pinned comment or description. New and returning players that haven't played in 6 months get a massive bonus pack that includes premium vehicles, the Eagle of Valor, 100,000 silver lions, and 7 days of premium account. There are plenty of videos that have gone viral on YouTube, but few have ever been able to match this scale. That's because not only was this video idea absolutely crazy, but it was also extremely dangerous. Mona Lisa Perez is another perpetrator in a YouTube stunt gone wrong. In 2017, Mona Lisa's boyfriend Pedro Ruiz came up with the ultimate plan for YouTube fame, one that was high risk and high reward. This was going to be their first video, and Pedro wanted to start the channel off with a bang.
He came up with the idea of having Mona Lisa discharge a firearm at a book that he would be holding in front of his chest, under the theory that the book would stop the bullet.
Although the idea was dangerous, it was one of a kind, and Pedro seemed confident in the book's ability to protect his life. The couple tested their theory with a bunch of different books, and based on these trials, it seemed like the books were able to block the impact. So the two decided it was safe to move on to the real thing, but unfortunately, they would be wrong. Even after their successful trials, the result of the actual shot would be fatal. Mona Lisa, who was just 19 at the time, was 7 months pregnant with Pedro's second child. She claimed that she begged him not to go through with the idea, knowing that it could have ended up with this sort of outcome. After the video was released and taken down soon after, the Minnesota Department of Public Safety revealed a transcript of a conversation between Mona Lisa and Pedro. It seemed clear that Mona Lisa did not want to go through with it, but Pedro insisted.
Babe, I'm not doing this. I can't. As long as you hit the book, you'll be fine.
According to Pedro's aunt, Pedro was the mastermind behind the idea. She even tried to stop him from doing it, but he wouldn't budge. And when she asked him why he would even want to do such a thing, Pedro said, because we want more viewers. We want to get famous.
I may fail, but if I fail, I want to die trying.
Mona Lisa could have faced up to 10 years of jail time and a $20,000 fine, but she only ended up serving 180 days in prison. Mona Lisa doesn't seem like she'll be making a return to content creation anytime soon. Unlike this next creator, who even after being charged for the passing of a friend and fellow YouTuber still posts videos to this day. A big mistake. Daniel Silva is a tattoo artist who's done work on celebrities like Trippie Redd, Ethan Dolan, and Jalen Ramsey. He was also a participant in the 10th season of the tattooing reality TV competition Ink Master, where he placed 7th in the finale. But at the time, Daniel wasn't best known for his work, but rather his crime. In 2020, the world was shocked and devastated to find out about the passing of beloved social media star Corey LaBerry. He was a vlogger who had been uploading videos on YouTube since 2016 and collaborated with popular YouTubers like David Dobrik. On May 10th, 2020, his 25th birthday, Corey was out celebrating for the occasion. He'd gotten way too intoxicated and decided to look for a designated driver to drive him home that night. So he turned to his friend Daniel Silva, who was capitalizing off of his newfound fame as an expert tattoo artist. He wanted to expand his content by also making videos on YouTube and currently has over 900,000 subscribers. At the time of Corey's birthday, Daniel was also under the influence and wasn't fit to drive. Yet, he still agreed, and Corey gave him the keys to his car so that he could take them both home. But sadly for Corey, he made the wrong choice.
The life of a YouTube reality star cut short, killed on his 25th birthday in a violent high-speed crash.
The two got into Corey's 2020 McLaren 600 LT and began the drive. But at around 9:40 p.m., Daniel lost control of the vehicle shortly after, sending it flying off the road. Daniel made it. Corey didn't. After the crash, Daniel attempted to evade police capture, trying to flee the scene, but was stopped by a passerby who tried to help out. When the police arrived, he was taken into custody and was held on a $200,000 bond. In July of 2020, Daniel was charged with murder, and he and his legal team were hard at work to get that changed. His original sentence was up to 4 years in state prison. But a month later, this was reduced and the tattoo artist was sentenced to 365 days in a county jail along with 250 hours of community service and 5 years of probation. It was later revealed that it was Corey's family that asked for these charges to be reduced. A few months later, Daniel broke his silence regarding the entire incident, issuing a formal apology to Corey's fans, family, and loved ones.
I want to start off by saying how sorry I am for all the pain that everybody's going through. I'm sorry to Corey. I'm sorry to Corey's friends and family, and I'm really sorry to Corey's fans.
As of March 2023, Daniel has returned to YouTube and uploads consistently. Daniel isn't hurting anyone anymore with his videos, but for other YouTubers, I cannot say the same. But while Daniel may wield a tattoo gun, Mr. Anime uses the real version. Dark fantasies brought to life. The anime community on YouTube has grown to be one of the biggest and most engaged on the platform. But back in the early days of the site, it wasn't always like that. One of the pioneers of this niche was a YouTuber by the name of Mr. Anime, or Trey Eric Sessler. Having joined back in 2006, Trey was considered one of the more popular content creators with over 1 million views on the channel, which was way more impressive back then. Before he pivoted his channel toward anime, he'd been known as Lens Caps Productions, and he would post content about his love for film and cinematography and even upload skits. But his channel started taking off when he began posting anime reviews.
This being the first episode in review, I kind of wanted to start kind of strong and get this one out of the way. So that's right, I'm probably doing an Iyasha.
He was one of the first ever creators to do anime reviews authentically on YouTube, and many people credit him with helping to kickstart that genre of video. But anime wasn't his only passion. It soon became obvious to viewers that Trey had other interests: firearms. As time went on, his new interests became a collection and would make more and more appearances on his channel. Throughout the years, Trey kept up with the anime uploads, but would diversify his content a bit by implementing combat-themed skits. At one point, he was even posting demonstration videos of his profound collection, telling his audience about each one's pros, cons, features, and major selling points. It became obvious to anyone watching that this wasn't just a casual hobby for him. His enthusiasm for this arsenal soon became a bit concerning as he started making rant videos talking about real-world incidents that involved them. His first rant came in 2009, which talked about Trey's stance on certain world events. But at this point, he hadn't been showing any red flags in terms of his interests. And in the rant, he specifically condemned those who used them recklessly, which reassured his viewers. From 2010 to 2012, Trey's collection would make more and more appearances on his channel, but nothing seemed to be cause for concern yet, because in his rant, Trey had openly said that he was against the misuse of them, so no one seemed to think that his opinions would change. But as time went on, it was obvious that Trey was developing other interests, ones that were dark and disturbing. Although many of his past anime reviews had been shows with dark themes, Trey had now started becoming fascinated with these themes in real life. He would research actual criminals, looking into their stories, their crimes, and their motivations, which sent him to a point of no return. His behavior started to change both on and off camera. Neighbors reported seeing him running around the neighborhood at night, firing off at empty buildings and businesses. Trey had begun taking on too much of a personal interest in the criminals he read about. He would spend hours studying what they did to take inspiration from their actions to devise his evil plan. March 2012 was when things imploded. Trey posted a video called Mr. Anime is Planning Something to his YouTube channel. And in the video, he expressed that he had found a new opportunity that might take him away from his YouTube channel for a while despite its growing success.
This is just an update video to let you guys know that I'm going to reward myself with probably a 2 or 3 week break coming up here from YouTube videos.
Trey then expressed his gratitude to his viewers, with his voice even shaking a bit as he thanked them for supporting him.
I want to thank you guys a lot for sticking with me and watching the channel. I got more subscribers than ever. I have more views than ever, and everything is going really good.
Little did his community know that the reason that he would be taking a break would not just be a reward, but a crime. Trey made all the preparations, such as buying supplies and studying floor plans. But before all that, the first step was to get rid of his obstacles, which in Trey's case was his family. And on March 20th, 2012, that is exactly what he did. Afterwards, Trey wanted to move on to step 2. Grabbing his things, he started heading toward his second destination, but couldn't go through with it. It was at that point point that the reality of his situation started setting in, and things ultimately got too real for him. He then turned around and went back home to where the police were already waiting.
It's a crime in Waller that shocked us all.
Now he is headed to prison in a plea deal that not everybody is happy about.
This devastating case was all over the media for weeks, with footage of Trey's interrogation even being made available to the public. Trey was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But if you thought this case was brutal, prepare for an even more shocking case. Elliot Rodger was not just a YouTuber turned criminal. He was one of the most twisted individuals on the platform. The infamous incel. Arguably, the most infamous YouTubers turned criminal is Elliot Rodger, the man who took his hatred for those who rejected him to extreme lengths. Elliot Rodger had been diagnosed with various mental illnesses and disorders since he was just 8 years old. He received psychiatric treatments and saw therapists regularly, but refused to take any medication. From his childhood, Elliot struggled to make friends, often being the subject of bullying. So, like many kids in that sort of situation, he turned to the internet for comfort. There, he started up his online blog and YouTube channel, where he openly talked about his struggles with loneliness, particularly when it came to romantic relationships. In real life, Elliot had trouble talking to women and never had a girlfriend before. As a result, he grew resentful of them. Through his content, his dislike for women was clear. He believed that his lack of success in getting into a relationship was not his fault, but rather theirs. And he built a whole online community of like-minded individuals in his subscriber base. On June 4th, 2011, Elliot moved to Isla Vista to attend Santa Barbara City College. But it didn't take long before he dropped out. He decided to still stay in the city even after leaving school, and this is where he started showing some red flags in his behavior. He became sort of infamous for being the culprit of several local incidents. He would throw drinks at couples or girls who didn't reciprocate his feelings. One time, he even filled a super soaker with orange juice just to spray it on a group of kickball players in the park. While those already showcased his terrible social behaviors and his mean spirit, this next incident was really what sent him spiraling out of control. On July 20th, 2013, he pushed several girls after he was supposedly ignored by them at a party. This incident is apparently what ignited Elliot's rage. Others had noticed what he was doing, and a group of men ended up roughing him up. According to Elliot, this was the event that led him into a downward spiral, ready to carry out his twisted manifesto. He dedicated all of his time to secretly pocketing money from his family and purchased a wide range of supplies for his plan. Previously, Elliot had already posted many videos on his YouTube channel, which all have since been deleted. His parents had grown concerned about these videos that they forced him to take them down and even reported them to the police. But nothing came out of that report, which is why Elliot was able to carry on and do what he did, a crime that would leave the world shocked. For months, Elliot had been writing a manifesto called My Twisted World, the story of Elliot Rodger. In this 107,000-word document, Elliot detailed his entire life from birth, explaining how he went from a happy and blissful kid to how he is today, all as a result of the cruelties of the world, particularly the women in it. One of the lines from his manifesto is as follows: "All I ever wanted was to fit in and live a happy life amongst humanity, but I was cast out and rejected, forced to endure an existence of loneliness and insignificance, all because the females of the human species were incapable of seeing the value in me." Then on May 23rd, 2014, his evil plan would come to life. It started with his roommates Hong and George Chen, along with their friend David Wang. All three of these were separate incidents at different times. At 9:17 p.m., Elliot uploaded a video on his YouTube channel titled Elliot Rodger's Retribution, where he talked about his thoughts, motives, and plan of action for enacting his revenge on the women who rejected him.
Tomorrow is the day of retribution, the day in which I will have my revenge against humanity, against all of you.
One of the final steps of his plan was to share his manifesto with the world. So Elliot emailed the document to 34 people, like his family members, his therapist, former teachers, and childhood friends. Once his manifesto and his last video were out into the world, he went to the Alpha Phi sorority house on the Santa Barbara campus. But when his knocks at the door went unanswered, he turned to the members of the Delta 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 sorority nearby. After this, Elliot got back in his car so that he could continue this mission while on the move. Police, upon several 911 calls, arrived at the area and were on active lookout, and 4 officers even ran into him but let him go because they didn't suspect that he was the culprit, which turned out to be a fatal mistake. Elliot would continue his plan, getting into 2 encounters with the police. Near the tail end of the chase, the YouTuber would crash into a bicyclist, making it hard to run. So that's when Elliot ended the chase on his own terms. He was just 22 years old. Exploring the downfall of these YouTubers teaches us a vital lesson. Internet fame is temporary, but the consequences of our actions can last forever.